Garry Kasparov, it's great to have you here at the Warsaw Security Forum. Now, you are the chess master. Tell me, what is Vladimir Putin's next move?
I don't feel comfortable comparing the games Vladimir Putin has been playing with my beloved game of chess. One is, I always feel I have to defend the integrity of my game. And also, dictators don't play chess, they play poker. Because chess is a game where you have all information available, 100%. You don't know about the plans of your opponent, but you know exactly what kind of resources he or she can use to hurt you. Dictators prefer cards, poker, because they can bluff. They can win with a weak hand by raising the stakes, by bluffing. And that's what Putin has been doing all the time. Every time having a weak hand, he bluffed, put the stakes up, and the opposition always folded the cards.
In terms of having a weak hand, I think it's been disappointing, frankly, for those in the G7 who had hoped that their economic sanctions would really begin to bite. And I'm speaking specifically about those sanctions on oil. And what we understand today is through various and sundry means, as well as higher oil prices, he's actually not taken as big of a hit as they had hoped.
Look, they don't have to complain. They don't have to look at Putin. They have to look in the mirror. It's the sanctions cannot work because we live in a free world with private business. Yes, you can cut German export to Russia 10 times. That means that most likely it will grow 10 times to Kazakhstan. So it's how can you make Putin suffer? Yes, you can probably reduce his profit, but suffer in the world where the West refuses to recognize the fact that we're at war. Vladimir Putin is at war with NATO. NATO pretends that, we're helping Ukraine. So I'm not sure that ambassadors have been recalled. We're still playing the game as if nothing happened. Again, we play chess, he plays poker.
Yeah.
So, expecting him just to lose the war economically? No. Yes, his GDP is small compared to NATO, but he spends quarter of the GDP to war. How much do we spend?
Yeah.
So also, the weapons Ukraine needs to win the war, they don't have to be manufactured. They exist and they stay in American storage. Tens of Grey Eagle drones, hundreds of ATACMS, and thousands of planes. So it's about political will. Let them say publicly, Ukraine must win. And then when you declare your goal, the strategy, you can supply it with various tactical moves. And you definitely can find ways of making Putin's profits reduce dramatically. If the oil is being brought by tankers, how about imposing some taxes, for instance, in Denmark, in the channel? So you say, okay, we have special rules for Russians. Hundreds of billions of Russian money, sovereign funds, sitting in now frozen. Okay, if you cannot confiscate them, maybe you have to put an escrow account, freeze them, and also issue bonds for that. Start thinking about it. But it's about making sure Ukraine must win, Putin will lose, most likely it will lead to the collapse of his regime, and certain complications that, unfortunately, many in the free world, especially in Washington, are trying to avoid at any cost.
Yes, political ramifications as well. And you mentioned that.
But
political will, that seems to be dwindling.
Exactly. It's about being statesman. It's not about being reactive. The war cannot be won by incremental moves. It's about bold decisions.
Well, some would say that $75 billion is not an incremental move, and that's the cost at this point.
$75 billion of what?
To the United States, of taxpayer money that has gone.
No, that's not taxpayers' money. You can't, I don't know the exact percentage, but probably lion's share of that is aluminum, is steel, it's metal. It was sitting in the storage. So the choice is either at one day you pay Lockheed Martin to dismantle it or you send it to Ukraine. So that's why the real amount of money is of cash. For those who say, we have to spend it in Hawaii. No. It's a real amount is relatively small. And also, Ukraine depleted half of the Russian war potential. It's amazing. This is the main enemy of NATO for decades now has been struggling in Ukraine, and we're counting pennies.
There's a question, of course, about when we talk about the sanctions, we talk about oil. Who's buying that oil? And we know who's buying it. It's everyone outside the Western world. And we're talking about the global South. We're talking about those in the Gulf Arab countries.
How can you stop them buying this? Look, again, that's.
And you're saying we shouldn't even try.
No. But Russia is not a pariah. Again, it's not that we were at war with Russia. It's not that we blocked it. No, we imposed some sanctions. So again, secondary sanctions. So are we serious about imposing secondary sanctions, following those who are violating the rules? How come that Putin have all the chips? You find chips on Russian missiles that coming from the free world, even from the Baltic countries. You can still buy Coca-Cola in Moscow, made in Denmark, Netherlands, even in United Kingdom. Again, it's more expensive. Yes, obviously you have to pay more, but somehow all the goods they find a way into Russia because sanctions are not. It's not the same as declaring, let's say, state of emergency, and again being serious. So far, I don't think that the free world demonstrated that they're serious. Saying we stay with Ukraine as long as it takes. It's blurry statement.
Walk me through how you see the state of play in Russia. And of course, it's difficult to know other than the reports that we get and the people that we speak to. The IMF is projecting that they're going to have growth of 1.4% this year, that it could be 1.3% even in 2024 as well. That's still growth.
Yes, I mean, it's financial data, it's probably not trustworthy because you have war economy. So that's why it's with all this war production, that is being boosted. So you probably have this is the numbers, GDP numbers going up. Whether it still helps to sustain financial stability, I doubt very much. I'm not an expert, so I know that Russia has a huge debt to pay. So but Putin has resources to go on for a year, maybe for two.
Yeah.
So
and he's certainly getting investment from China, even in a time when China's hurting.
Yeah, the relations between Xi Jinping and Putin, they're more complicated than people think. It's not about allies, it's about subordination. And clearly, Xi Jinping looks at Putin, as a junior partner and possibly a prey. Because let's not forget, Xi Jinping is not in a good, China's economy is not in good shape. Xi Jinping badly needs geopolitical triumph. Everybody talks about Taiwan, and that's natural target. But Taiwan, it's an island armed to teeth, and also, you don't know, I don't know, Xi Jinping doesn't know whether American aircraft carriers will defend it. But Xi Jinping also has an opportunity in the north. China has huge territorial claims to Russia. It's nearly 1.5 million square kilometers.
There are more ethnic Chinese in Siberia than there are Russians, no?
Legally, in this 19th century, Russian Empire, using Chinese weakness, took this land. It's from Vladivostok to Baikal. How many ethnic Chinese living there? We don't know. Russia, the balance demographics balance is in Chinese favor. They have many bachelors. Russia, huge disbalance.
That was always the gamble, wasn't it? That was always the gamble because when I interviewed Putin in October of 2021, we were at Russia Energy Week, and we were talking about the prospect of one day the Chinese could just walk up that Siberian pipeline and take it all back. Yes. And it was interesting because he hedged on that one. He wanted at that time, October 2021, to continue to talk about his dear friend in Beijing. But as you mentioned, the question was always, do you want to be the prey/ally of China, or do you want to turn west? And he made his choice.
Chinese leaders, think in centuries. And let's not forget, Vladivostok already called Haishavein on Chinese maps. It's already first time since 1860 Chinese customs operating independently in Vladivostok. And following what you said, how many Chinese people already there? And again, gender disbalance, which is getting worse because so many people have been mobilized from regions, and it made it worse on Russian side. You have huge surplus of women on one side and bachelors on the other side, plus Chinese economy and official claims. They're already on Chinese maps. It's 1.5 million square kilometers. So Xi Jinping's interest probably help Putin to continue the war. Let Russia is getting weaker and the West is preoccupied. Everybody thinks he's attacking Taiwan, but maybe he looks north. It's much more lucrative piece of real estate, near Vladivostok or Baikal than the Rocky Island.
You talked about poker. And he's already made several bluffs, President Putin. One of them, of course, was this idea that he was going to use tactical nuclear weapons. We haven't seen that.
He never said it.
Well, it was discussed.
Yeah, but that's discussed by the other side. He never said anything about he knows. But
he never ruled it out.
Yeah, but that's classical bluff.
That's what I'm saying.
Because why to rule it out? It's
correct.
The problem is this is what is being done by Americans. We will never use boots on the ground. Yeah, we will never. Since Obama, American administration, one of another, always, just cut the options. No, we'll never do that. Yeah, we know you will never do that, but can you shut up? Please, just don't say it, openly.
Or created options they weren't going to take, like
And
red
Putin,
lines in
Putin
Syria.
is a good poker player,
Yeah.
He knows that if your opponent is worried about tactical nukes, and by the way, I believe that the nukes options are not real. It's we can spend hours debating it. From what I know, but it's psychology, it's about geopolitics, and it's about also the dynamics within Russia. It's not going to happen. But big gift to Putin. They keep talking about it, and he's,
So then what's his next bluff in your mind? What's the next thing, the
doesn't have-
boogeyman that he can hold over the heads
But
of
he
the
doesn't
West?
have to bluff now. I mean, this is very clear. He wants to win the war. He believes he is winning war of attrition. I follow the Russian social media. Russian public,
I mean, if it's a war of attrition, what is the victory? I mean, it is a middling victory. No?
Ukraine is losing manpower.
Yeah.
Ukraine doesn't have. I mean, I'm really pissed off hearing some of people here saying, "Oh, the war can go forever." How can you say that? It's Ukrainian blood. So how the politicians from European countries or America can talk about the endless war? It cannot be endless. Ukraine doesn't have Chinese number of men and women, so I'm not sure. I don't know whether they're on the stretch or not, but it's at least amoral because they pay in blood for our indecisiveness, for our incremental supply of weapons, and Putin believes that uncertainty helps him. By the way, using chess analogies, uncertainty always helps dictators because strengths of democracy is strategy, continuity. Something happens, we know they have a plan. Dictators are much better with tactics because they don't care about parliament, public opinion, so just boom. And uncertainty, which is brought by war, it's always in his favor. Look, Slovakia elections. That's what Putin, maybe elections here. God knows what happens in America. It's always, creates opportunities for him, and he's very good master of grabbing opportunities.
By that logic, then, would you say that potentially another Trump presidency would actually be good for the West simply because, as you say, that optionality that comes with being unpredictable, as dictators can be, like President Putin, would actually give some leverage to the West that perhaps they don't have today?
Trump presidency, I don't believe it is going to happen, but if it does, it will be a disaster because Trump will start playing another poker game with Putin, and Ukraine will be one of the bargaining chips, as many other things. No, we can't afford it. We need leadership that will not play by chance, but will offer us a vision into the future. And I think it will be a disaster if American future will be decided in a rematch between two men with combined age of 160.
And to that logic, is that visionary leadership going to come from another Joe Biden presidency?
I don't think Joe Biden presidency can offer us anything. So it's and I believe that it's time to consider who will carry the torch of freedom. And I don't think Joe Biden's hands are strong enough to carry it.
Garry, it's great to have you here at the Warsaw Security Forum. Thanks so much for your insight.